I've been working on my magical practice for about 12 years now, and with a 5-year hiatus until recently. Reapproaching these familiar topics, I started to realize that people who are just getting into this murky water have no idea on how to really get started. There are millions of references, thousands of paths, and a plethora of beginner books and guides out there. Nothing really that helps you get down to what are you seeking? What do you need to know to kind of start figuring out where to go? So it's only right that the first production from me would be about where to start your esoteric journey. To be successful in any endeavor, you really have to have a plan. Where you want to be, what you want to accomplish. And it's really more difficult to plan your spiritual journey than anything else because no one knows where they're going to end up. And if they tell you they do, they probably have stopped taking their psychotic medicine. I know there are a lot of you that are going to say that you have no idea of what is possible and where you can go with these topics, and that's fine because you're beginning into this. You don't know what the occult's about. You don't know what the esoteric world's about. You don't really know what all the out there to offer on your spiritual journey. So what we want to do is we want to kind of get familiar with some of the topics. You want to set your first goal as refining and learning and understanding where you want to take your esoteric path. So you don't want to have a structured goal to start. You want to have a broad goal based on some of the things you already know. So you want to ask yourself a couple of these following questions to kind of decide where you want to begin your journey. What do you currently believe? And what are you currently drawn to? What are you raised with? What kind of belief systems, spirituality were you raised with? What do you desire to accomplish with this? And how serious are you about this desire? That last one you need to ponder. Because in my opinion, the gravity of these topics and the potential life-changing outcomes of these paths, this is something that you need to take serious. So you need to think about this. After beginning this, you need to find what your core levels are. So you need to start reading and researching the different paths that you start to believe with. So you've kind of done your self-assessment. You kind of know what you were believing in, and then you start to kind of feel where you're being drawn to. So you'll start to research these different paths, and you don't want to set your heart on any individual one. You kind of want to glance at them all a little bit. Just get your toes wet, because that water is deep, no matter which path you take. So you just want to get your toes wet. In the future videos, we'll start to get more in depth in these. We'll start actually diving down into the waters of these paths, so you'll be able to understand a little bit more on what these are. And there'll be some teaser videos coming out too to kind of help you get your toes wet to choose. So there are a lot of different paths to take. You could take your traditional ceremonial magic. You can go through a chaos path, traditional witchcraft, New Age pagan, traditional pagan, and the Psionics. You can get into the left-hand path, which in my opinion is a subset of ceremonial magic, and you got theurgy and all those. But so there's a lot out there, and that is a very salt dusting of what is out there. So don't worry about picking the wrong path just yet. Just kind of start probing each one and seeing what resonates down in your soul. You'll want to take some time to meditate on these and really think it through. So remember, you got time. This is not something that has to be done by Friday. This ain't something that has to be, done by Monday morning. Take your time. That's something I struggle with a lot, especially in our modern society, is we don't take our time on things that matter most because we feel like there's a deadline. We feel like we only have one life. We feel like, we're going to miss out if we don't get this done and move on to the next thing. Drop that thinking and start thinking about what interests me and how it makes me feel. I started with Wicca, and then I moved to ceremonial magic. I went over to traditional paganism for a little bit, and then I went back over to ceremonial magic over time, and that's okay. there's, and I went a little bit deeper than just testing the waters on each of these. So that happens. So don't feel like you're going to have to choose one and you can't switch. There are consequences are bad words, but there are challenges to switching because you start to framework a mindset to these, and they may be different on different paths. So you may have to do some rewiring in your head, but that's easily overcomable. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to spend about 2 to 3 months studying these paths and just kind of get an idea of what they entail. Talk to people online about it. Reddit is an awesome place. Ask people about a certain path, what their thoughts are on it, and see how it resonates. Meditation is the bomb. You must meditate. You must. It's not even a recommendation. Some people try to be sympathetic and be like, well, meditation's a nice thing. We recommend doing it, but it's not for everyone. No, you're going to meditate. If you take any of the paths I listed, or any of the paths that I took, you're going to meditate. Period. In a story. Start now. Might as well. Meditation's easy. Start learning how to meditate, and then start meditating on these different paths and vibrations that you're feeling, and figure out where you want to go. If some of you might be already on a journey, you just haven't found a path that suits you. You may have been down a couple and they just don't feel right. That's fine too. Or you got to think: are you interested in traditional magic, ceremonial magic, voodoo, witchcraft, psionics, chaos magic? There's even for Christ's sakes, there's even a technology magic. It makes sense. It makes sense. Philosophically, it makes sense. I can put a case for it, but it's not my cup of tea. But that's cool. If you're into it, that's you, man. Go for it. Just whatever makes you feel comfortable in trying to improve yourself, because that's the name of the game when it comes to the occult and esoteric and spiritual paths in general, is improving yourself. So do it and have fun with it. And we're here for you, the Esoteric Scholar. We're actually building some stuff in the back end to really help people learn, and that's our goal. So that's your tip. That's your start of the podcast video. There's going to be more coming, and I just want to make sure you all subscribe and like, because there will be. We're going to dig into a lot of the different paths. We're going to have a Ghost of the Past series where we talk about all the past practitioners of these different paths and what they believed and what their contribution was to the different paths. It's going to be really cool. Like MacGregor Mathers, Aleister Crowley. Crowley's name gets thrown in the mud a lot, and rightfully so in some situations, but he really did have a profound contribution to the occult revival in the late 1800s, early 1900s. He was really a pivotal role in it. MacGregor Mathers was as well. Yeats, all of those. We're gonna dig into those, and then we're gonna talk into some of the less known, like Eliphas Levi. Pronunciation may be a big thing with me. I may pronounce stuff wrong. Disclaimer: I don't really care, because the points are made. You can correct me if you want. I know there's going to be grammar people out there. We'll have some videos on Nazis too, not grammar Nazis, but the other Nazis, because they were big into the occult. They put a really black shadow on it as well. But so just take some time and meditate. Getting back on course here, we had a tangent there. Get some time and meditate. Just do it, have fun with it, and breathe and clear your mind, because that's when the truth will come to light. Alright, Constantine out. Have a good one, guys, and I hope you like and subscribe.